What's up, everybody? It's George from the Reslayer's Take. Hey, do you remember that feeling of your first critical hit? Or are you one of those people who are getting ready to start their first journey? I have a show for you. It's called Girls Who Don't D&D, because none of this all-female team of players had ever joined a D&D game before, or any other role-playing game. They go from learning which dice is what to challenging the gods themselves. They are surrounded by a beautiful and chaotic environment that has been described as a cross between Terry Pratchett's Discworld and Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it's a world you can be a part of too. That's because their listeners perform pre-recorded sections that fit into each show. How cool is that? Those parts and the rest of the show sound amazing, with carefully added music and effects that bring a touch of the cinematic to your experience. I think the most amazing thing is that they were complete amateurs when they started, and you should really hear how far they've come. It really does make you feel like you're sitting at the table with them. You can join this group of unassuming Australians, otherwise known as the Girls Who Don't D&D, on any device that lets you stream podcasts. But I'm warning you, this one is addictive, heartwarming, and heartbreaking, and very, very funny. And I hope you enjoy. Bye-bye! Hello, Halflings! George Primavera here to tell you about Three Black Halflings, a conversational comedy podcast hosted by Jasper Cartwright, Olivia Kennedy, and Jeremy Cobb. Three nerdy friends with strong opinions and even stronger charisma scores. Having grown up in different corners of the world, they bring a diverse range of perspectives as they talk about their experiences as people of color in pop culture fandoms, D&D, and the TTRPG community. Born of a love of all things nerdy, all three of them share personal and often hilarious stories, challenge typical fantasy tropes, and tackle diversifying fantasy, all whilst discussing the things they love. From Lord of the Rings to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, playing your first tabletop role-playing game, or advice for seasoned adventurers, there's something for everyone. They've brought on an array of guests from all around the roleplay community and beyond, including Christina Ariel, Brendan Lee Mulligan, Jake Hurwitz, Lou Wilson, and many more. The list goes on and on. Join them in their quest to explore diversity in the incredible worlds of D&D and pop culture through thought-provoking conversations and good times. Subscribe to Three Black Halflings on Apple, Spotify, Pocket Casts, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes drop every Monday and Thursday. So long, Shire folk! Welcome to the Reslayer's Take. I'm George Primavera.
And I'm Nick Williams. In this podcast, George and I lead a group of players through an exciting improvised adventure in Exandria, the magical world of Critical Role.
We're playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, but you won't need to know the rules to follow along. All you need to know is that nothing the players do is scripted or planned, and their fates are determined by their own cleverness and the random chance of rolling a 20-sided die.
You can listen to new episodes of The Reslayer's Take every Monday, anywhere you stream podcasts.
Or if you want to listen to the podcast 2 weeks early and uninterrupted by ads, join Beacon at beacon.tv.
Last but certainly not least, if you're enjoying the story, please consider leaving a rating and review. Your feedback might inspire someone new to join this adventure.
Now, without further ado,
welcome to the Reslayer's Take.
The Reslayer's Take, accompanied by their tentative friend Xella, freeze in the mines underneath the Spectrum Gorge, turned toward the inky void of the mine. The underground river has ceased flowing, and the roar that echoed along the walls has faded, though now it is replaced with a subtle rumbling.
If the river's dried up, then there's nothing stopping that thing from eating us!
Seeing this purple fungus in front of her, Frog thinks back to the spectral, fungal monsters they've fought in the past.
As you analyze the purple fungus that is blocking the water, roll an Arcana or a Nature check with advantage.
18.
While not outwardly ghostly, you do notice a necrotic quality to the fungus, very similar to that as what was floating around the Timberblight's form atop Dead Man's table.
You guys, I think this might be related to the Timberblight, which I guess we really didn't take care of.
Right. That's something you've encountered before?
Timpani, didn't you say something about mycelium?
Yeah, that was part of Osisa's riddle. Mycelium is like a mushroom network that goes under the ground for miles of... Oh, I see what happened.
Yeah. Do you think maybe these two are related?
I don't know if this is still the Timberblight actively working or if this is just part of his network left behind, but it's definitely the work of him. For sure.
If I could just say something, having had a little bit of experience with land sharks and stuff, this is perhaps the worst place to be. It could come out of literally anywhere. Can we get above ground, please?
Why don't you just destroy the mushrooms and get the water back in here?
That's a great idea. If it's only a small, thin layer, that would do it.
Well, as someone who doesn't know anything about what you're talking about, I'm going to assume Timberblight is bad, and we should destroy that thing.
You got it in one.
Great.
That's probably something for the spectral weapons.
I can't hold anything.
Hira bluntly hands Farah's crossbow to Xella, while releasing him from the command spell.
Thank you.
I'm trusting you.
I'm not, that's my crossbow.
Well, you're jam, so...
Yeah?
Okay, so unjam yourself.
Farah tries to unjam herself.
Concentrating as hard as she can, Farah, make a Constitution saving throw with disadvantage.
10.
Farah remains jammed.
Yeah, no.
So, am I to gather that the only thing that can hurt these ghosts is these particular weapons that you have on your persons?
That's not exactly true. We had a member before who had all sorts of spells, and those spells also worked on those ghosties.
Wonderful, then I don't need the crossbow.
Xella holds up the gauntlet of his armor and it reconfigures as a lightning cannon.
Impressed, Hira takes the crossbow back and puts it inside Farah's form.
It activates inside of Farah's goo body.
Farah tries to shoot the crossbow by moving some goo on the trigger.
Farah, roll an attack with disadvantage.
Natural 1.
You attempt to put your goo finger around the crossbow's trigger, but it is too formless to actually push the trigger down, and you are unable to fire the mechanism.
I think we should get out of this cavern.
But I thought we had to venture in and save somebody.
Yeah, wasn't the whole point to fight this thing?
That was our agreed plan.
Oh, I'm saying we should fight this thing upstairs. We can try to unblock that clog, but if we stay here and try to make some sort of stand, I think it's gonna bury us.
Let me see if I can do something about this.
Xella walks forward a few feet, raises his arm to point at the fungus, and fires.
Roll an attack.
15 to hit.
Hit, roll damage.
11 lightning damage.
As the blast of lightning impacts on the fungus, some of it sears away, a whining tone emitting from it, and you see that there is quite a bit more fungus filling up the tunnel from the back.
Oh, well, the lightning seems to be effective, but there is a lot more fungus behind, it looks like.
Hira silently melds into the shadows, along the cave wall near the direction where the roaring came from.
Hira, roll a stealth check.
22.
Making no noise, Hira silently disappears into the darkness.
Farah turns to Poogs.
Hey, grab a couple of those sleep cupcakes and just, stick it in the jam.
Stick it in the jam.
Yes.
Okay. Poogs undoes Farah's bag and dumps the cupcakes onto her shoulders, which slurp inside of her body and are floating there, very much like the Himblewood gelatinous cube.
Farah goes towards the source of the roaring as well, but does not try to make as little noise as possible.
Raspberry Farah walks into the middle of the mine.
I could take a few swings at it.
Frog rushes over to the ghostly spores and makes a strike at them.
Roll your attacks.
19, 25,
2 hits, roll damage.
18 bludgeoning damage.
And 2 motes of light spring up, floating near where Frog punched. They are spinning at a dangerous velocity.
How about some more?
Channeling her ki, Frog strikes out 2 more times.
Frog continues punching the mass of fungus, jumping down into the now empty, carved-out shallow river. Roll 2 more attacks.
13, 23.
1 punch rebounds off a particularly bouncy piece of the fungus, the other connects.
10 bludgeoning damage.
More damage done to the fungus as it begins to peel away from the radiant punches, but still, the tunnel is clogged.
Timpani turns his back to Xella and Frog working on the clogged tunnel, shakes his arms a bit, and opens his sleeves, letting out a big, dusty fog cloud, attempting to obscure their work.
Frog and Xella see a fog cloud spring up behind them, obscuring them from view.
I'm going to assume that's one of yours.
Who, me?
No, you all in general.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't know how to do that. Oh, it's probably one of our, our wonderful magic casters.
Oh, good. I just wanted to make sure.
There is a shuddering in the cavern, louder and more severe. Another scream from the distance, but it is much closer.
Stand back for a second.
Xella takes a step forward and fires the lightning launcher again at the fungus wall.
Roll your attack.
22.
Hit, roll damage.
12 points of lightning damage.
And as this lightning blast connects with the fungus, it punctures through, and a spray of water compressed from the tiny hole blasts out like a fire hose. But it is not enough to wash the fungus away, and it is not enough to refill the underground riverbed.
Well, that's a start at least.
Good job.
Thanks for the positive affirmation.
Poogs walks alongside the Jam Farah, unsure of how to contribute.
So do you need help or something, or what can I do?
No, you should go into that fog cloud.
Okay.
Poogs runs into the fog cloud.
I think you should back up this time.
Oh, this is fun.
Frog backs up next to Xella and slams her fists together, engaging the light motes around the spores.
Each of them explode. Roll 3d10 radiant damage.
18 radiant damage.
Doubled to 36 radiant damage. This fungus is vulnerable to that radiant light. More water sprays out of the hole, but still the fungus is clogging up the tunnel. But you see its membrane stretching as the rushing water presses against it.
Hira carefully trains an ear to try to discern where the rumbling is coming from.
Make a perception check with disadvantage.
7.
The rumbling is all around you.
Unsure of where to lay her trap, Hira remains hidden in the shadows and prepares to ambush the foul creature when it shows itself.
As you slink in the shadows, Hira, make a wisdom saving throw.
11.
The hair stands up on the back of your neck, and you get a sinking feeling in your stomach that there is somebody watching you.
Farah holds an action, readying herself to jump into the open maw of this land shark.
Another shuddering boom, this one frighteningly close. The ground shakes beneath your feet. Farah, you are standing in the middle of the mine, and everyone watches as a maw explodes from the ground directly beneath Farah. Farah, make an athletics check with disadvantage to try to avoid the teeth as this creature reverse dives at you from the floor.
8.
Failure. Farah, you take 28 piercing damage, halved to 14 piercing damage from the resistance of your goo form. You take an additional 6 fire damage and 10 necrotic damage, for a total of 30 points of damage. You are brought down to 22 points of health as you disappear deep into the maw of this creature. There is a ghostly, bright green, blinding light, and suddenly there are a mass of tendrils trying to pull at your body, though they are unable to get a hold of you, as you are made of goo.
Oh God, Farah! I didn't understand the plan. She was just gonna get eaten. That was the whole plan.
What happened? Is she dead?
She's in the mouth! She's inside the mouth! Timpani, still maintaining concentration on the obscuring fog cloud, looks over at the massive land shark as it comes up to engulf Farah and tries to glean as much as he can about the nature of it.
Roll a nature check.
26.
The body of the magma land shark is massive, made out of hard black lava rock, glowing with cracks of green magma. However, there are several massive protrusions from the creature that do not look natural to the form. You recognize them as marionette bulbs, stuck over the body of this creature. You do not, however, see any marionette tendrils on the exterior of the creature, meaning that they must be within the body.
Everybody target the bulbs!
Xella turns away from Frog and activates the helmet of his armor, which, coming up from the neck, covers his head in a mask and hood, obscuring his features.
As soon as I move away from you, you're not going to have the protection of my boots, so try not to stomp your feet.
Xella runs toward the boulette, and Xella takes a wide stance, grabbing 2 loops that are on the front of his armor built into the design, pulls them, and 2 compartments on the shoulders open up and spray a stream of acid at the boulette.
The Bulette does not get out of the way and fails the dexterity saving throw.
8 points of acid damage.
The bulb is resistant to this damage, having the 8 acid damage it takes to 4, but the acid continues to burn it consistently. The magma marionette Bulette, having swallowed Farah, turns to Xella, who has sprayed it with acid.
Oh.
And something begins to well up within its throat. The black rock burns a bright, glowing green, and from a pocket underneath its bottom jaw, magma spews out in a line. Xella, make a dexterity saving throw.
25.
Success. Xella takes half damage, 11 bludgeoning damage, and 11 fire damage. Xella is brought down to 19 points of health. Xella, you hear another screaming roar from the creature. Make an insight check.
14.
In the overtone of this tremendous roar, you hear a familiar voice.
You are still in there.
Hira casts an appraising eye over the bulbs dotting the creature's body. Nat 20.
Hira gains advantage on her attack.
Heeding Timpani's words, Hira rushes forward from her hiding spot, leaps up, using the beast's haunch to propel herself up towards the bulb on its back.
Roll an attack with advantage.
18.
As you specifically target the bulb, this is a hit. Roll damage.
14 piercing damage. As Hira stabs it, her attempt to be stealthy is thwarted as the blade begins to whine.
And then there is a reverberating sound from the wound as the booming blade deafens everyone in the cavern for a moment.
9 thunder damage.
For a total of 23 points of damage. The bulb explodes with the blast, and a massive chunk of the lava rock crumbles away from the creature, dealing the actual Magma Bulette marionette ghost 60 additional points of damage. It roars in the cavern as it turns to see Hira destroy the marionette bulb, and green glowing light blinds Hira. Hira, you take 6 necrotic damage exposed to this bright light, bringing you to 38 points of health. Farah, trapped within the Bulette's form, you take 3 points of necrotic damage and 7 points of fire damage, bringing you to 12 points of health. You are still Jam. Make a perception check.
22.
As the marionette bulb tendrils begin to try to pull you apart unsuccessfully, you see the back part of the Bulette crumble a bit as Hira destroys a marionette bulb on the exterior. With that slight decrease in the intensity of the spectral glow, you see a shape floating within the marionette Bulette's form, wrapped in tendrils from head to toe. With a 22, you can tell this is a humanoid figure. Roll an Arcana check.
25.
As you focus on the tendrils wrapping up this creature, you see an energy clearly being transferred from the center and being funneled to the rest of the body. This ghost is drawing power from something or somebody, like a giant battery.
Farah once again tries to get herself out of a jam.
Farah, make a Constitution saving throw.
Nat 20.
With a pop, Farah is no longer Jam. As you become whole once again, the cupcakes are suddenly shoved out of your body into your arms as well as your crossbow.
Farah transfers some of her energy into her spectral weapon, activating Rite of the Dawn. The crossbow now sheds a bright light out to 20 feet.
Activating this, Farah is brought to 11 points of health. Poogs emerges from the fog.
Frog, how's that coming?
I think it's going okay. Just maybe a few more hits.
As her friends deal with the monster, Frog channels her energy back towards the fungus.
Roll your attacks.
26, 28.
2 hits, roll damage.
14 damage.
The second punch punctures through the fungus and thins it out to the point where the water blasts it away. Frog directly in the path. Make a dexterity saving throw.
10.
And Frog takes 25 points of bludgeoning damage from the rush of water, bringing her to 31 points of health. Frog is blasted out of the river with the force, landing next to Xella, who is on fire. As the water explodes out of the river, sloshing up over the side, it begins to wash over the magma bulette. But the magma bulette, rolling a natural 20 on its dexterity save, launches into the ceiling and begins to burrow upwards, just barely avoiding the splash of water. And as it moves, there is another reverberating boom from Hira's previous blow, and it takes yet more thunder damage.
9 thunder damage.
More lava rock drops to the ground, but it continues to move. Xella is thankfully doused.
Hot.
Timpani runs up behind Xella and slaps a cooling balm on his back made out of various mosses as he casts Cure Wounds at second level. Here, cool off!
Xella recovers 10 points of health, bringing him up to 29.
You know, I even said something about the breath, and then I went and stood in front of it. I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
Xella, realizing his mistake in being out in the open, goes to find cover towards one of the rocky pillars in the room and takes aim and fires with his lightning launcher.
Roll an attack with advantage, as the magma bulette cannot see you.
23 to hit.
Hit, roll damage.
13 points of lightning damage.
The bulb, blasted with lightning, looks severely damaged, almost coming dislodged from the form, and then the acid that it is covered in continues to sear through the root. Roll damage.
6 points of acid damage.
Which is halved to 3 points of acid damage, which is the remaining hit point total of this bulb. Another massive chunk of the land shark crumbles away. An extra 60 points of damage are dealt, and the magma bulette is bloodied.
Xella then hides behind the pillar.
Roll a stealth check.
25.
Xella essentially disappears. Farah, from within the magma bulette's form, the light decreases yet again. Many of the tendrils seem to evaporate, and you now see very clearly a half-orc woman with a great axe strapped to her back, her eyes lit up green, screaming inside the body of this magma bulette, clearly in a fearsome rage. Desperately trying to escape, it continues to burrow up through the ceiling, triggering an opportunity attack from Hira.
12.
But the spectral rapier is too slow, and it begins to disappear up into the ceiling, leaving the rest of the party, and taking Farah with it.
Seeing Farah move farther away, in a panic, Hira desperately casts Thaumaturgy, creating the illusion of rushing water above the bulette's head.
Roll a deception check with advantage.
22.
The magma bulette drops out of the ceiling, using a full reaction to move its entire movement speed back to where it was, directly on top of Hira. Hira, make a strength or dexterity saving throw.
16.
Failure. Hira takes 29 bludgeoning damage and 12 points of fire damage, which is halved to 6 as Hira is resistant to fire damage. 35 total damage.
Seeing the crushing weight of the bulette falling down on her, Hira wheels out of the way uncannily.
She halves the damage to 17. Hira is brought to 21 points of health, but one of the magma bulette's feet lands on her back ankle, and she is knocked prone.
Farah, get out of there!
Back inside the magma bulette,
Farah points her crossbow at the base of one of the tendrils holding on to Sasha and shoots.
roll an attack.
8.
Miss.
Farah shoots again. 8.
Another miss. Farah is getting pulled to and fro by the vine marionettes inside. Make a constitution saving throw.
11.
Failure. You take 9 points of necrotic damage, halved to 4, as many of the tendrils are repelled by your radiant aura, though they attempt to grasp you with a withering touch. You are brought to 7 points of health. Meanwhile, Poog sprints over to Hira helping her to her feet, and then holds the necklace to his chest, and a protective ward washes from the necklace through Poog's hand over Hera. Hera gains 3 temporary hit points.
Frog slowly stands up to her feet, wiggling her limbs to shake off the water.
Look! It worked!
Noticing the bulette, she channels her ki and flies at it like the wind. As she reaches the bulette, she targets the bulb and makes 2 strikes against it.
Roll your attacks.
25, 15.
1 hit.
9 bludgeoning damage.
An emotive light springs up next to the creature.
Frog analyzes the creature to find out any information about it.
Analyzing.
Frog, you find that it is indeed immune to necrotic and fire damage. Additionally, it is resistant to acid, lightning, thunder, and bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical weapons. It cannot be frightened, paralyzed, or petrified.
Timpani yells across the cave to Hera, "Great job, Hera! Keep it up!" and casts Healing Word at 4th level.
Hera regains 15 points of health, bringing her to 36, plus 3 temporary hit points.
Xella, currently hiding behind a pillar, assesses the situation.
Maybe I can do something to help everybody else. That's it.
Xella casts Fairy Fire on the bulette.
The magma bulette fails the saving throw to avoid the fairy fire.
Xella reaches his arms forward, and 2 exhaust ports on each wrist open up and fire a stream of an eerie green flame that covers the bulette, washing over it and coating it in liquid fire.
The cavern lights up, and the magma bulette is now exceptionally easily targetable.
Xella returns to hiding behind the pillar.
Roll another stealth check,
23.
and Xella disappears yet again. The magma bulette, now lit up in the cavern, begins to glow with a green light all its own as it recharges its magma breath weapon. It turns on Frog and Timpani. The bottom jaw begins to expand, lighting brighter and brighter, and then an exhalation of rock and fire blasts out of the mouth. Frog, Timpani, make dexterity saving throws.
Dirty 20.
21.
2 successes. Both will take half damage. For a total of 8 bludgeoning damage and only 6 fire damage. Timpani is brought down to 88, and Frog is brought down to 17 points of health, and both catch fire.
My journal!
My mustache!
Hera looks at Poogs with a mixture of love and frustration in her eyes,
Poogs, you need to go someplace safe that's not here.
and sternly but caringly pushes him out of the way with her boot.
Roll a persuasion check.
13.
But I...
Poogs looks hurt and a little sad, but he does take a defensive position and prepares to disengage from the creature.
Seeing that he's moved to safety, Hera moves towards the flank of the land shark and tries to stab at the bull.
Roll an attack with advantage due to the fairy fire.
21.
Hit, roll damage.
21 points of piercing damage.
Hera, how do you want to do this?
Hera stabs up at the bulb, her rapier sticking in a crack between the rocks. She then uses her body weight to propel up and with momentum push the blade in.
The eyes of the magma bulette alight, and the face of it explodes in a crumble of rock. The vines recede back towards the bulb, evaporating as the bulb does the same. Farah drops to the earth, as does another limp figure. The scene is lit only by one of Frog's floating motes, which orbits around the glowing Farah. And now for a brief intermission. With the planning, recording, and editing that go into the Reslayer's Take, Nick and I aren't left with a lot of time for exercise.
Luckily, our sponsor, Tonal, has helped us use the time we actually have to create personalized workouts just for us. Tonal learns from your movement and provides suggested weight recommendations for every move, and they even give you detailed reports on your progress.
They create personalized programs and workout suggestions based on your individual goals. Like me, I want the rogue-like agility to backflip over dungeon traps.
And I want the berserker strength to hold a heavy door up for my friends so they can escape the undead hordes thanks to my heroic sacrifice. With Tonal, you can do it all. It's like having a personal trainer at home with you.
Unlike traditional gym equipment, Tonal uses adaptive digital weight to advance your training techniques.
Whether you're a professional athlete or a cake-loving dungeon master like us, Tonal can be trusted to help you become your strongest, most fit self.
Right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code RESLAYER. That's Tonal.com and use promo code RESLAYER for $200 off your purchase.
Tonal.com, promo code RESLAYER for $200 off.
Let's roll those athletics checks.
Creating really great retail experiences is tough, especially with multiple stores, teams of staff, fulfillment centers, separate workflows. It's a lot. But with Shopify Point of Sale, you can do it all without complexity.
Shopify's point of sale system is a unified command center for your retail business. It brings together in-store and online operations even across 1,000 locations.
Imagine being able to guarantee that shopping is always convenient. Endless aisle, ship to customer, buy online, pick up in stores, all made simpler so customers can shop how and where they want and staff have the tools they need to close the sale every time.
And let's face it, acquiring new customers is expensive. With Shopify POS, you can keep existing shoppers coming back to your stores with consistent, tailored experiences and first-party data that give marketing teams a competitive edge.
Want more?
Yeah!
Check it out at shopify.com/r/ all lowercase and learn how to create the best retail experiences without complexity.
That's shopify.com/r/.
Cha-ching!
I'm Nick Friedman.
I'm Lee Alec Murray.
And I'm Leah President. And this is Crunchyroll Presents The Anime Effect.
We are a new show breaking down the anime news, views, and shows you care about each and every week. I can't think of a better studio to bring something like this to life. And
yeah, I agree. We're covering all the classics.
If I don't know a lot about Godzilla, which I do, but I'm trying to pretend that I don't right now.
Hold it in. And our current faves. Luffy must have his due.
Tune in every week for the latest anime updates and possibly a few debates.
Oof.
I remember, what was that?
Say what you're going to say and I'll circle back.
You can listen to Crunchyroll Presents The Anime Effect every Friday wherever you get your podcasts. And watch full video episodes on Crunchyroll or the Crunchyroll YouTube channel.
Now back to the show.
No. Xella starts running towards the limp figure on the ground.
Hey, come on, wake up. You gotta still be here.
Roll a medicine check.
Dirty 20.
Sasha is unconscious and is making death saving throws.
Can anybody help her?
Timpani sprints up and power slides towards Xella and Sasha.
Please, I can't fix living things.
It's literally the only thing I'm good at. Timpani pulls a sunflower out of one of his deep pockets and blows the pollen off of it into Sasha's face, and each mote lights up with radiance as he casts Cure Wounds at 4th level.
And each glowing mote touches Sasha's face and burns and curdles away. The healing fails.
No. That's not right. That should have worked.
Timpani, roll a medicine check.
28.
Purple veins are creeping along Sasha's neck and head. She is afflicted by a magical disease that is preventing the healing.
It's some sort of affliction. Frog, can you use that new thing yet?
Xella, do you think that would work?
I mean, you can try. I don't know exactly what it does when it's connected to you.
Okay.
Frog steps forward and gingerly places her palm on Sasha's forehead.
The palm pulses in your hand and glows, and all of a sudden, an illusory projection of Sasha appears just about a foot above her. You see, as if representing her circulatory system, something moving through the illusory copy. Strange text appears in the air, which you, surprisingly, have no trouble reading, though it is not a language you recognize. You know this to be the result of a contagion spell.
Timpani, it says it's It's a contagion.
I think I got just enough juice left to fix that.
Please.
Timpani takes out a handful of mossy grass and draws a sigil on Sasha's forehead, casting Lesser Restoration.
There is a pulsing of light, the dark veins recede, and Sasha's eyes roll out of the back of her head, and she gasps, sitting up straight.
What is happening? What is happening? Where am I?
Hey, it's okay. It's okay, you're here. We got you. It's fine.
What are you doing here, Xella? Where am I?
Difficult to explain. You spent the last 2 weeks inside of a monster?
I'm so hungry.
I bet. Hey, but you're good. You're good. We got you. You're back.
Who are all of you? I had a dream. There was a monster made of jelly coming for me in the night.
Oh, yeah, you were probably really out of it.
Who are you?
Prospective customers that agreed to help me get you back. Everyone else is gone.
But you are okay.
I'm a little singed, but other than that, I'm fine.
What happened to your little cape? It was so nice.
The lava.
Oh, right. The lava. The fire.
The hood and mask on Zella's armor peels back and folds back into the suit.
I'm okay. I'm all right.
Sasha puts a hand on Zella's chest, as if making sure he's real, and then breathes a sigh of relief.
Oh, I don't know where I was. I was so afraid and so angry. But I did not know why. I feel so weak.
There are necrotic burn marks where the tendrils were wrapped around Sasha's body.
But you helped Xella. I cannot express my gratitude enough.
As Sasha looks around at all of you, little shimmering ghostly shreds floating in the air around the magma bulette start to coalesce in very much the same way that you've seen other such spiritual energy join together and infuse itself into your weapons. But instead of moving towards your weapons, it floats towards Hira, slowly touching her chest and spreading across her torso. She regains 5 hit points. And Hira, you feel a burning at your wrist.
Hira unsecures her wrist guard.
The chain tattoos are impressed in her skin now.
I was kind of hoping that would clear up. Timpani, do you have something for a rash? Maybe an aloe vera or...
Is this another crazy big secret that you've been keeping from everybody? What's going on with you guys?
It's not really a secret. I didn't want to worry anyone. I kind of thought maybe it would clear on its own.
Whoa, here, that tattoo. Did Janet give you that?
I wish, but no. I thought maybe it was just a side effect of Cisa sort of messing with us. But it's not going away.
Clearly you all have something to talk about, but can we get out of the mines?
Yes, please. I don't want to spend any more time down here.
Timpani takes one of Sasha's arms over his shoulder.
You see Xella take a moment and twist a dial on the front of his armor, and you see the armor bulk up and strengthen as he switches from infiltrator mode to guardian mode, increasing his strength to help lift Sasha up off the ground.
Sasha rights herself, leaning on Xella.
Timpani takes a step away, understanding he's no longer needed.
And the Reslayers and their 2 new acquaintances make their way up out of the mine and back to the Embersmith and Embersmith Mining Company building on the ground floor. As Sasha sits down on a heavy sack of potatoes, she regales you with her short story.
I was in the tunnels below the dig site. I heard something from around the corner in the darkness, and I went to investigate. Those spectral vines, they whipped out from nowhere and pulled me deeper into the cavern. I was suddenly overcome with more fear than I've ever felt in my life. Fear of never seeing Xella again. And fear of all my friends being eaten. I don't have a perfect memory of what came next, but I think my terror and my anger were literally powering that thing. I've been known to freak out.
This is interesting. From our previous fights with ghostly creatures, it doesn't seem like they've had control over someone like they did Sasha.
It was definitely taking energy from Sasha.
Interesting. And you've never seen anything like that before? You are ghost hunters, correct?
Farah tries to recall if she's seen it before.
Roll an Arcana check with advantage.
18. I've seen this before. It was a long time ago, but it took control of a captain of a ship, and when he was rescued, the ship disappeared.
Interesting.
We're still relatively new ghost hunters.
We are certainly not going to question your credentials after today. What can we do to thank you?
Oh, that's right, I owe you some things. Hold on.
Xella goes back into his workshop, and you hear some rummaging around and things falling. And
God. Ow.
Eventually, he comes back out carrying a crate with him. He sets it down on the ground.
Let's see here. I think these will be applicable. Here, considering what I saw you do, and what I think that mark means, I'll give you this.
And he hands you a wand.
Hira, a thin golden wand that upon first glance looks like a single beam of metal coiled to become a foot-long stick rests in your hand. It feels incredibly well balanced, and as you swish it around, you feel like it is cutting through the air faster than you would ever normally be able to swing even your rapier.
I'm sure you'll figure out a way to use that on your own. It never really did anything for me, but I think you'll figure out what it does. Farah, I have something for you as well.
He hands you a pair of boots.
These boots are composed of a very thin metal with leather buckles to tighten them. There is a dial on the sides of both ankles.
From what I've been able to gather, these have a dunamantic enchantment about them, in that they can fluctuate the way gravity works for you. So, these boots I've taken to calling graviturgy boots.
Thank you.
And I have one more thing. I guess I'll give this to you to hold on to. It'll help you in what you're looking for.
He reaches his hand towards Frog, holding a small compass that doesn't seem to be pointing in any particular direction.
This, as far as I can tell, points to objects made with Aeorian materials. Maybe this'll help you find additional pieces in the future.
Thank you so much, Xella. But why isn't it pointing towards me?
I believe that is what your new apparatus is for, figuring things out.
Wow, thank you.
With her new identifying palm, Frog lays it over the compass.
And an illusory copy of the compass is projected into the air. More Aeorian runes appear in front of you, which you are still able to read, and it details the functions of the compass to point towards unmoored Aeorian metal. This is a scrap-finding compass. As soon as something is incorporated into Frog's form, it will no longer register on the compass.
Micah comes flying in with the egg and drops it on your lap.
Hira takes a point of acid damage.
Fortified with her new temporary hit points, Hira does not care.
Micah proceeds to fly over to Sasha and start walking all over Sasha, checking that they're okay.
Oh, I'm okay, little man. Get off of me.
Xella, you've done a lot for us, and you've given us all something. If you wanted to take a look at me, you could.
You know what? I think it's okay. I have more important things to worry about today.
Oh, like Sasha?
Sasha immediately blushes.
Yes.
We should go.
Before you do, one more piece of information. Before we got here on our travels,
We heard of some strange happenings in a gnomish village not too far from here, and considering I now know you are all ghost hunters, I thought you might want to check it out.
Hot diggity dog, we got us a ghost lead.
I very much appreciate everything you've done for me today. It's been a rough couple of weeks hiding out in this building. So, a word of advice. You're all carrying around a lot of secrets between you. They're going to start making things messy and getting heavy. That's all.
There is a moment of silence as the Reslayers contemplate this.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm an open book over here.
Yeah, same.
As the Reslayers says a fond farewell to Xella and Sasha, they begin to head out of the Embersmith and Embersmith Mining Company building. As they do, Hira, make a wisdom saving throw.
10.
Now, make a perception check.
21.
Just before you exit the building, there is a mirror that catches your eye in the corner of the room. And staring at you from your position, with curious, judging eyes, is your mother. You blink, and she is gone.
I don't know what he was talking about with secrets. Maybe he needs to mind his own business, you know?
Come on, Xella. Let's get out of here.
Yes, please. I don't want to be here anymore. Can we take some time off and go somewhere nice?
We find ourselves in a familiar swamp. A ramshackle cabin sits on the edge of a mucky pond, a small dock leading halfway out onto the water. This clearing is surrounded by immensely thick trees, and walking out of them, holding a glowing green lantern aloft, is the bearded hill dwarf, Gert Stumpstuck. He grumbles as he unlocks the front door,
A key.
pushing his way inside and setting the lantern down on the table. There you are. Gert turns with a start.
Huh? Who's in here?
He lunges for the lantern, but suddenly freezes in place as he is paralyzed by the spell Hold Person. Sitting in the shadows, legs lazily crossed, is Heldwell, his face obscured by shadows in the dark cabin.
The spectral hand told me you'd be here, but they failed to warn me of the rancid nature of this place. Although if I'm being honest, such things don't bother me much anymore.
Heldwell stands slowly. As he moves forward, his shadow extends unnaturally long until it almost engulfs the frozen Gert.
You are an exceptional craftsman. Such a shame your talents are being wasted on such insignificant peons.
Heldwell picks up the lantern, illuminating his face in glowing green light. He looks different. His veins are dark and visible in his neck and cheeks. His eyes are wide and bloodshot, and strange fungal growths are forming on his fingers, which are now tinged purple.
Yes, this is exactly what I need. Thank you, Stumpstuck. You've been so helpful.
With a wave of his hand, Heldwell sends Gert flying backward into the wall, dazing him as shelves collapse from the impact. As Gert picks himself up and looks around, the lantern is gone. He panics.
My lantern! Hey!
But Heldwell is gone. Gert busts out the front door to see Heldwell already disappearing into the secret tree passageway leading out of the swamp.
Stop! You don't know what you're doing with that thing! On the contrary, I know exactly what I'm doing. Don't worry. If I run into any problems, I know where to find you.
And the passageway magically closes. Gert sprints up to the tree Heldwell disappeared within, places his hands on it, and exclaims,
Oopra!
Expecting it to open, but it does not.
What in the...
And then the tree bursts into flame.
No! No! That's my only way out! Hey, wait!
Outside, in the quiet forest of the Vesper Timberland, Heldwell stalks away from the tree he set ablaze, holding the glowing, ghostly lantern aloft.
And so it begins. The Reslayer's Take is a Metapigeon production in partnership with and distributed by Critical Role Productions, developed in association with Hero Club. Game mastered and produced by George Primavera and Nick Williams, featuring Nick Williams as Timpani Guff, George Primavera as Poogs, Jasmine Bhullar as Hira Agniheart, Jasmine Chiong as Farah, and Caroline Lux as Frog, with special guest Alexander Ward as Xella Blacktongue, also featuring Lelia Symington as Sasha. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
My poncho!
My mustache!
That's too good, man.
I need art of
My mustache!
Oh.